So recently, I took an offer from $70,000 to $150,000 without doing all the fancy things that everyone is talking about on the internet and YouTube nowadays that you guys are seeing on your feed. These aren't sexy, secret AI funnel hacks that a lot of people are talking about. This is stuff that if you do it exactly in your business or one of your clients' businesses, it'll make you more money. And I'm going to show you everything that I changed from the front end, the back end, the sales, and the fulfillment to help make more money and got this offer to 150K a month. So what we're going to start first with was the front end, right? With the front end, it already had a solid offer, just like the messaging was off of the way they went about it, right? So the first thing that you want to do to go in and you fix the front end is you just want to understand like who exactly are we marketing to? Like what is our ICP? Whether that's a document where you send your clients or you send yourself and you pretty much go through, you fill out who exactly you want to attract. And the form covers a couple simple things, right? The ICP you want to attract, what's the problem you're solving, how you're going to solve that problem, right? Like everything about the ICP, their age range, right? Their income range, their typical background, everything in depth about the ICP in your offer so you can have it to know exactly who you're marketing. Easy way to get the ICP, what I did is when I went in and with the specific client, you just go in and you take sales calls that close of your favorite clients too as well. And you go in and you start to be able to pull and put together that certain ICP that you're looking for. What was broken about this when we were doing a call funnel, the messaging was a little bit off. It was a bit too open, broad to trying to attract everyone. And when you go off and you try to attract everyone, it's actually not a good thing. You want to niche down specifically to all the people that have the same problem. So you can have a simple process and you're also marketing and attracting the same people. So what I went ahead and changed is I went ahead and found out who exactly the ICP was, right? And I redid the VSL, right? And the reason why I redid the VSL is because you redo everything from the ground up, right? Instead of from the bird's eye view all the way down, right? You start it from the root and you grow it up to the top. So pretty much the first thing that I did was, okay, the offer is fine. I had to go ahead and fix the VSL. I went through Poppy AI, took everything that I needed from the intake document or the pretty much the document that goes over the ICP, and then also as well taking all the sales calls and really formulating who exactly your ICP is, right? And based on that, I went ahead and scripted out a whole entire VSL. Once that was done and the VSL was scripted out and the VSL is now communicating with the ICP that we want it to communicate with, we now can take the VSL and know how to make a headline. The biggest thing with the headline, if you're following best practices in the psychology, is what your headline is doing is, yes, you are attracting the people that you want, repelling the people that you don't want by saying this is specifically for this person. Because what happens as well is a good headline will call out to the people that you want to attract, but also make them go through and watch the VSL too as well. So when they'll go through and they watch the headline and they go through and watch the VSL, then now you have alignment. So after the headline was created, that's when we start to create the ads or the type of content that we're going to make, right? So as long as you have that dialed in, you'll be able to fix your front end in a way to where all these leads coming through are actually going to fit the ICP or the type of people that were trying to come in, solve their problem. And what this resulted in is a lot of easier going sales calls, people that are pretty much problem aware. And we know for a fact as well, the product that we're selling is actually going to get a better end result. And then the next thing, this leads us to the sales team. So a couple things that we had to fix with the sales team was I went ahead and I looked at the data and I saw a couple things were low, right? A couple common things. The two common things that were low were the show rate and of course the close rate, right? They weren't as high as I wanted them to be via KPI. Also as well, another thing that was low was the AOV. So first things that I wanted to go in and fix was, okay, like if the show rate's that low and the close rate's that low, let's just go ahead and just take a look at the sales team. The sales culture was not there. Like we had setters that pretty much were just like glorified triagers. They would only triage calls. They wouldn't go out and actually dial leads, use a power dialer, or do anything to go and really hit a KPI, right? Also, though, granted, the KPI standards were a bit low, and that's where it goes into like a culture thing. No one was really on them. They weren't setting the right expectations for these setters and closers to come in and really hit a decent KPI. It was just pretty much everybody go out and essentially do the bare minimum. So that definitely had to change. And then also as well with the closer, we had a lot of closers that wanted those lay down deals, right? Oh, make sure that this lead watches the whole VSL type of closers, which those type of closers they never ever make money. So it was about fixing those things. So of course what we went ahead and did is we came in, we trained them up of course, but eventually just honestly had to restaff the sales team, rebuild the culture around, you eat what you kill on this type of sales team. With that being said, the way we fixed the show rate was we had the setters come in and same thing, like we had them reach out to leads in 1 to 5 minutes as fast as possible. We had them sending over pre-call material, right? But then also as well with the pre-call material, it was a YouTube video based on the conversation you had with the lead. And also as well, we send a testimonial that is similar to the lead. So when you're talking to a lead on a setting call and let's say a lead has a specific problem and their background is like they're a blue collar worker, to say they don't know much about the space. It's good to show them, or the niche. It's good to show them, okay, here's a video that explains it thoroughly about how the niche and how someone like you can get started in it. And also as well, I have a testimonial to show you of someone that was just like you, John. He pretty much was a blue collar worker too as well 6 months ago, and now he's making XYZ from XYZ business model. Because that personalized touch of someone that can see like, oh, someone from my background is actually making this work, it raises the believability, right, as well, and sets the expectation that they know they can do it. And honestly, like psychologically, they will be more prone to show up to the call, right? So that's how we dialed that in with the show rate, just making sure we're reaching out to everything as fast as possible. Also as well, we have automations too. Make sure you're sending not the cliche, oh, show up for your call automations, but a lot of value-based automations, SMS and emails. Also as well, we sprinkle in reminders too as well. So you got to make sure you have all that set up. We set up everything through Go High Level. We have all the automations running up through there. So that's a big thing that we want to do. But other than show rate, of course, going into close rate, that one is a bit self-explanatory. What we ended up doing was we just worked with the closers as much as possible, making sure that they're holding frame, probing as much as they need to, really going deep into calls and selling towards the pain and making sure they really land their pitch is how we fixed the close rate. But another thing that was massive was our AOV. And what I realized is like a lot of times when your AOV is down, you want to have, a conversation with your closers and make sure that they're doing open wallets, make sure that they're really on these calls and they're getting these leads to pay as much as possible. We have a lot of closers that they care about the close rate, and they will, even though they're commission based, which is crazy, they will much rather take a payment plan than having another 2 to 5 minute fight with the lead to get them to pay the full amount. So pretty much working with the closers to get that up, because if you don't have a high enough AOV, you also won't be able to scale with ads, right? Simply just because it's like you're not collecting that much cash per sales call that you're taking. And pretty much all through that, all three of those steps is how we got the sales team to be dialed in to a point where we could add an extra 80K. And then another thing that a lot of people don't talk about what we did is it's a huge thing, fulfillment. So in terms of fulfillment, a lot of times what you guys don't understand is when you have good fulfillment, a couple things happen, right? You start to get a lot of testimonials, and that goes back to the marketing because, like I said, to get leads to show up, we use different types of testimonials, right? So a good fulfillment looks like, they have a great onboarding process. They're always checked in on, their questions are always answered, right? A lot of times these leads that come in that buy these info products or, like done with you or done for you, they want to feel heard, right? They want to feel helped. No one ever wants to buy a program that promised them that they were going to get coaching and no one comes in and helps them. So pretty much the way you get that dialed in is your closers should have a dialed in onboarding process. What we use on this offer is a doc, pretty much like a Gamma doc that we go ahead and we send to the lead. And what they'll do is they'll fill out a form so we know exactly where their current situation is and what their goal is. And then also as well, they get access to wherever the program is, whether that's school, Discord, Kajabi, right, Circle, wherever. We make sure that they get access to it. And then as well, what we do is they can book in a call. And that call that they're going to book in is going to be with the CSM. And we call this the 48-hour handoff, because what happens is this closer, when someone pays for something, the first 48 hours needs to be great. So it needs to be a handoff. They need to get on the call the next day, and the CSM will take it from there. But they will also be coming in and helping as much as possible, setting the expectations, setting the standards, letting them know that they'll be there constantly to be on calls with them, answer any questions that they have, and show them around the community too as well. So that's a huge thing. But what a lot of people sleep on is like, let's face it, when you're on an offer, there are going to be payment plans, right? And a lot of times people wonder why, like, oh, people like, I hate payment plans. Typically me, I don't necessarily hate payment plans. The reason why a lot of people hate payment plans though is because a lot of leads end up defaulting on it, right? A lot of clients end up defaulting on it because they end up just forgetting about it. They don't want to use it anymore. They're not as motivated. But the only way that that happens is if your fulfillment isn't dialed in, right? And what I mean by that is you have to think about it. If you pay for something and you know the extra 1,500 is coming up, right? Like next month in 30 days, and you're 5 days away and you're like, bro, I'm not even using this and these people didn't help me that much. Why would you pay the extra amount, right? So believe it or not, a boring way to scale is making sure you have great fulfillment to the point where you can follow up with these leads, make sure that all the extra payments go through. Because for example, if you cash collect 100 grand, right? But that's in cash collected, but also as well, your average, order value is a bit lower and you're only collecting 50% of cash on every call. You have an extra 100,000 that's laying around that should be collected next month. But let's say, your fulfillment is okay and you only get 50% of that. That is guaranteed an extra 50K that you can add on to the offer next month. And it's people that already have paid. So to getting them to pay their next installment amount that they already agreed on paying is some of the easiest money that you can get and collect on an offer. And a lot of people don't do it, but I promise it's way easier. And the way we went about it is, like I said, the first 48 hours is important, but hiring a CSM is not that hard to as well. You can find your best CSMs that are students that are getting results in your community. Everybody has CSMs in their program or their client's program, because simply the best CSMs will be people in the community that are getting the best results. And they actually will care and will want to help out. And another thing too as well with these CSMs, what they can start to help with is upsells, right? Like when people are like, okay, cool, like I've gotten XYZ result, they can be the easiest people to get them on a call and be like, hey, there's another thing too as well that I think you'd be great for, and you gotten results for it. It's actually super exclusive. And that way you can add in upsell cash to it too as well by the same CSMs that are doing fulfillment. Doing this alone on this specific offer added an extra 20 to 30K last month, simply just because we just collected that much of that cash. But yeah, what I'm trying to say here is don't sleep on fulfillment, because we did that and I easily added an extra 20 to 30K in cash collected last month. But yeah, this is pretty much some of the first things that I come in to offers that are, already making money, that I know for a fact you just pull these triggers and the offer will instantly make more money. No one is ever doing all three of these things, simply just because it's like a lot of people overlook it or don't know how to do it right. But if you do all those things, I can guarantee you your offer will grow in cash collected, month over month, if you continue to do these things. But that's all I got for you. If you guys are, interested to work with my agency and help me scale your offer, you'll see the link down below. Or if you want to learn exactly what I do too as well, you'll see a link down below too as well to learn. But until then, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.